So we come to the fourth part of the super middleweight title history. So we got WBO title, November the 4th. Thomas Hearns, I remember this fight, wins on points over 12 rounds against James Kinchin in Las Vegas for the vacant title, Las Vegas, Nevada. And in April the 28th, 1990, Thomas Hearns wins on points over 12 rounds against Michael Alajadade in Canada, and that was Atlantic. Sorry, he was from Canada, and it was Atlantic City, New Jersey. In April 1991, Hearns relinquishes the title to box at light heavy. That's where he beats the likes of Dennis Andrews, etc. So, yeah. So we come up to September the 21st, 1991. Chris Eubanks from England wins, referee stops the fight in the 12th round against Michael Watson in London, England. Didn't recover very well for that fight. Hit his head on the bottom rope. But again, he stuck Eubanks down in 11th, and he looked like he was ahead on points. Then Eubanks got up off the ground and stuck him down with an uppercut, and that changed everyone's lives. Again, he'd come out for the 12th round, but it was in a bad way, and obviously suffered there. But so from there, February the 1st, 1992, Chris Eubanks wins on points over 12 rounds against Sugar Boy Malinga in Birmingham, England. And then April the 25th, 1992, Chris Eubanks fought Ron Jarvis with wins by KO in the 3rd round. Classic right hand. He was out before he hit the ground, John Jarvis. There was a lot of talk about whether he lost his shot punch after the Watson fight, but he proved the doubt was wrong there. And that was in Manchester, England. 3rd round KO of John Jarvis. And then June the 27th, 1992, Chris Eubanks wins on points over 12 rounds against Ron Essett. Quinton do Lago, Portugal, that was in. And then September the 19th, 1992, Chris Eubanks wins on points over 12 rounds against Tony Thornton in Glasgow, Scotland. Then November the 28th, 1992, Chris Eubanks wins over 12 rounds against Juan Carlos Gimenez in Manchester, England. And then February the 20th, 1993, Chris Eubanks wins on points over 12 rounds against Lyndall Holmes. That was in London, England. And then May the 15th, 1993, Chris Eubanks drew with Ray Close from Ireland in Glasgow, Scotland. I saw all these fights a few times over, actually. Again, May the 15th, 1990. Sorry, October the 9th, 1993. That was where they tried to get the WBC and WBO together. That's where he drew with Nigel Benn in Manchester, England. And then February the 5th, 1994, Chris Eubanks wins on points over 12 rounds against Graziano Rocciagani in Berlin, Germany. And then May 21st, 1994, Chris Eubanks wins on points over 12 rounds against Ray Close in Belfast, Ireland. And then July the 9th, 1994, Chris Eubanks wins on points over 12 rounds against Mauricio Amaral from Brazil in London, England. He had a Sky deal going there. From what I remember. New Sky deal. But anyway, August the 27th, 1997, Chris Eubanks wins in the 7th round. Referee stops the fight against Sam Story of Ireland in Cardiff, Wales. And October the 25th, 1994, Chris Eubanks wins on points over Dan Schomer from the US in Sun City. And then December the 10th, 1994, Chris Eubanks wins over 12 rounds against Henry Wharton. 12 rounds points over Henry Wharton. Really classic, really best us in his jab actually in that fight. Really good. In Manchester, England. And then March the 18th, 1995, Steve Collins from Ireland wins on points over 12 rounds against Chris Eubanks in Mill Street, Ireland. Yeah, he got into his mind a little bit there with the hypnosis stuff, but I won't digress too much. So, September the 9th, 1995, Steve Collins wins on points over 12 rounds against Chris Eubanks in Cork, Ireland. One of them he stuck him down, Chris, but he still lost the decision quite handily. But again, so November the 25th, 1995, Steve Collins wins on points over Cornelius Carr from England, Middlesbrough, in Dublin, Ireland. And in March the 9th, 1996, Steve Collins beats Neville Brown from England. Again, in the 11th round, referee stops the fight. I remember seeing him in the ABAs and telly. In Mill Street, Ireland, Neville Brown, good old domestic fighter. July the 6th, and world class. July the 6th, 1996, Steve Collins wins in 4th round. Referee stops the fight against Nigel Benn in Manchester, England. And then he repeats the same result. November the 9th, 1996, Steve Collins wins by retirement against Nigel Benn. He did his ankle quite bad in that. It wasn't good to see at the end of his career. In Manchester, England. And then February the 8th, 1997, Steve Collins wins in the 5th round against Frederic Seeler from France in London, England. And then July the 5th, 1997, Steve Collins wins. Referee stops the fight against Craig Cummins from the US in the 3rd round. Referee stops the fight in Glasgow, Scotland. September 1997, Steve Collins relinquishes the title and retired. I swear I remember seeing a story that he fainted in a sparring session against Tony Ekabua. Sorry, not what it was. It was something. It was someone he fainted against, and he had to be taken to the hospital, and there's a problem with the brain, etc. But again, he was talking about coming back a while ago, so I'm not too sure about that. But anyway, so not Tony Ekabua. Who was it? A Brighton-based guy who fought Julius Caesar Green at some point. It'll probably come up in a minute. But again, 24th of January 1998, Joe Kawasaki from Wales wins in the 3rd round. Referee stops the fight against Branko Sabot from Croatia in Cardiff, Wales for the vacant title. 25th of April 1998, Joe Kawasaki wins in the 9th round by retirement against Jean Carlos Gimenez from Paraguay in Cardiff, Wales. Then February 13th, 1999, Joe Kawasaki beats Robin Reed in 12 rounds on points in Newcastle, England. June 5th, 1999, Joe Kawasaki wins over 12 rounds on points against Rick Thornberry from Australia, Cardiff, Wales. January 29th, 2000, Joe Kawasaki beats David Starry over 12 rounds on points from England, Manchester, England. And then August the 12th, 2000, Joe Kawasaki wins on points. Wins in the 5th round. Referee stops the fight against Omar Shaker from the US, London, England. December the 16th, 2000, Joe Kawasaki wins in the 10th round. Referee stops the fight against Richie Woodall, the bronze medalist in the Olympics. Richie Woodall, Sheffield, England. April 28th, 2001, Joe Kawasaki wins in the 1st round. Referee stops the fight against Mario Veit from Germany in Cardiff, Wales. In October the 13th, 2011, Joe Calzaghe wins in the 4th round. Referee stops the fight against Will McIntyre from the US in Copenhagen, Denmark. Then, April the 20th, 2002, Joe Calzaghe wins on points over 12 rounds against Charles the Hatchet Brewer from the US in Cardiff, Wales. And then August the 17th, 2002, Joe Calzaghe wins on points over Miguel Angel Jimenez from Puerto Rico, actually, in Cardiff, Wales. And then December the 14th, 2002, Joe Calzaghe wins in the 2nd round against Tucker Pubwell. Referee stops the fight in the 2nd round. Tucker Pubwell from the US in Newcastle, England. And then June the 28th, 2003, Joe Calzaghe wins. Referee stops the fight against Byron Mitchell in the 2nd round. Mitchell from the US in Cardiff, Wales. And then February 21st, 2004, Joe Calzaghe wins in the 7th round. Referee stops the fight against Miga Mukchian from Armenia. And in October 22nd, 2004, Joe Calzaghe wins on points over 12 rounds against Kabaré Salam from Egypt in Edinburgh, Scotland. Then May the 7th, 2005, Joe Calzaghe wins in the 6th round. Referee stops the fight against Mario Witt from Germany in Braunschweig, Germany. And then September the 10th, 2005, Joe Calzaghe wins on points over 12 rounds against Evans Shearer from Kenya. Calzaghe unified the WBO, IBF, and then was stripped of the IBF title. So, April the 7th, 2007, Joe Calzaghe wins in the 3rd round. Referee stops the fight against Peter Manfredi from the US. He was in the Contender Series. What's on telly? In Cardiff, Wales. I remember watching that. Again, WBO and IBF titles. March the 15th, 2003, Sven Otka wins on points over 12 rounds against Byron Mitchell in Berlin, Germany. Now, June the 14th, 2003, Sven Otka wins on points over 12 rounds against David Starry from England, and that was in Magdeburg, Germany. September the 6th, 2003, Sven Otka wins on points over 12 rounds against Mads Larsen from Denmark in Erfurt, Germany. December the 13th, 2003, Sven Otka wins on points over 12 rounds against Robin Reed of England in Nuremberg, Germany. Now, March the 27th, 2004, Sven Otka wins on points over 12 rounds against Armand Krajnik from Slovakia there. I think that's Slovakia. Magdeburg in Germany, that was in. Okt renounces retirement, so we've got the WBA title here. Yes, so 2003, Sven Otka, never going to say his name, was declared the super champion, and when he retired, recognition passed to the world champion. So in jumps from Anthony Mundine. September the 3rd, 2003, Anthony Mundine wins on points against Antoine Eccles from the US in Sydney, Australia. June the 19th, 2004, Anthony Mundine wins in the 5th round. Referee stops the fight against Yoshinori Nishizawa from Japan, and that was in Wollongong, Australia. Now, January 19th, 2000, that's the one we just done. May the 5th, 2004, Manny Siaka from Puerto Rico wins on points over 12 rounds against Anthony Mundine in Sydney, Australia. Then, November the 12th, 2004, Mikhail Kesler wins in the 8th round. Referee stops the fight in the 8th round against Manny Siaka in Copenhagen, Denmark. June the 8th, should I say, 2005, Michael Kesler wins on points against Anthony Mundine in Sydney, Australia. Then January 14th, 2006, Michael Kessler wins the 10th round against Eric Lucas of Canada in Copenhagen, Germany. When Kessler beat Bayer, the WBA recognised him as a unified champion, transferring that status to Joseph Kawasaki when he beat Kessler to keep the sanction fees flowing in. That's why they did that. They installed Anthony Mundine as the world champion. So March the 7th, 2007, Anthony Mundine of Australia wins in the 9th round by KO against Sam Solomon of Australia in Sydney, Australia. June the 27th, 2007, Anthony Mundine wins on points over 12 rounds against Pablo Zamora of Argentina in Broad Beach, Australia. December the 10th, 2007, Anthony Mundine wins by KO against Jose Alberto Clavero from Argentina in Sydney, Australia. I can leave it there. Bang. Lovely.